nuclear attack.
Well, hello again, and welcome to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio, broadcasting from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of British Columbia. I'm Michael McCall.
I'm Steve Pander.
And I'm Anna Namcharan.
And we're pleased to welcome Anna onto the show for the first time, especially because she is one of the founder members of the Optimist Union.
And we need that this week.
Yeah, after the result in New England, it's not a very optimistic week in some regards, but we'll come to that in a little bit. We're missing Zach again. He's serving the second of his 2-game suspensions from the MLS Disco Committee.
You see, if VAR was around, he might not have been suspended.
Yeah. In fact, let's give him a phone. Let's see if we can get him on the phone. We've not done this before, but we thought we would try.
Do you think he's listening right now?
He's bound to be listening.
Okay,
he is babysitting right now, or he could be asleep.
Okay, so I'll be calling him right now.
Okay.
That's not very good babysitting if he's asleep.
Oh, they have to sleep at some point.
You got to pay attention still, though.
So let's see if this works. We've wanted to call someone from the show for ages, so we thought we would try this. So here we go. It's ringing. It's ringing.
Hola.
Hola. So we're joined now on the phone by Zachary Weisenheimer as well. How's things? Good.
Things are good. Just for the record, it's called parenting, not babysitting.
It's the same thing, is it not?
Not exactly, no.
Oh, okay. Anyway, we're going to kick things off by talking about the New England game. So, what I want to ask everyone, we'll start with Anna, because she's going to, I'm sure, give us a nice upbeat answer. So, was that display poor, or was it dismal?
That was the game of the week. For me, it was very riveting because I got to spend it on Bowen Island with other supporters. And
yeah.
I highly recommend that. If you need to commiserate with people, watch with friends when you're watching a terrible away game.
That did look like a lot of fun. I would have done it, except the ferries. I've had enough of them. This takes way too long, but it did look a lot of fun. I think there's about 30 people went over on it.
About 30 people, absolutely. And a few of us were lucky enough to get boat rides over. So we sidestepped.
Oh, not the ferry.
We sidestepped the ferry situation. It was very.
It was tweeted out too. Somebody tweeted the video out of you guys riding. I don't know if you were in that boat. There was a number of boats, you said?
There were at least 3 that I know of.
Yeah.
So there could have been more than that.
I saw a video of somebody like on the boat on the way to Bowen Island.
That is fantastic. We were going to do that for one of the East Fife games. We were going to take a boat up to Peterhead from Fife, which was going to be something like a 4 or 5 hour like fishing boat ride.
But you guys were probably going to try to pack on 30 people on a 5-person boat. So
probably
that wasn't good.
They did actually do a boat ride. It was either last season or the season before, and we were playing Berwick, and the boat actually went to New Berwick, which is a completely different town. So they actually missed the game. But they had fun anyway, so that's the main thing. So, the New England game. Zach, what did you think? Did you think it was poor, dismal, or did you enjoy that?
I enjoyed watching Gershon Kofi play in a game that I somewhat cared about. But no, it was. It's hard to not see it as anything but a poor performance and definitely a poor result.
Now, I'm thinking that. Now, I don't know if this is true, but I'm thinking that that's maybe what Robbo wanted to do. Make it a make it a bad game. Okay. No, listen to my reasoning.
Okay.
New England has kind of a dynamic midfield. They attack. They're supposed to be like this young attacking team, and you're going into their stadium, play a dismal game, frustrate them, and then maybe get a late winner. kind of play just a boring game.
Well, it did look like it was playing for the draw.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then, and the only thing that really hurt them was that one moment of brilliance by who threw the ball. Then Bunbury scored.
Kellen Rowe, fantastic ball.
But that was like a perfect cross into the box, and Teal maybe obviously we don't want to talk about it too much, but he made a perfect strike on him, perfect volley. Other than that, New England really didn't do anything in that game, and they're supposed to be the home team.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game, it was two bad sides, and it was going to take one goal to win it, really. But it was a game where I expected the Whitecaps, I mean, it looked like they were playing for a draw. I expected them to come out there and at least attack early on, because this was definitely a side that was there for the beating.
I think when you're on a road stretch like that, you want the win, but it's also... I mean, as terrible as it was to watch, it's where you get your experimentation in a game as well. You're saving Reyna a bit to hold him back and make sure that he's not trampled on. And you put in Mosqueda and you see what he can do for you. And unfortunately, it was nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, the lineup, there can't have been any surprises there for anyone, was there?
Oh, no surprises at all.
None at all.
Seen this coming a mile away.
Gideon actually on last week's show, as he was very quick to send me a message about, did tip that Marinovic would start this game, and we thought he was crazy. We thought he was just youthful exuberance. He had gone a little bit crazy, but he was proved right.
Yeah. No, I didn't have an issue with Marinovic.
No.
My big problem was I think Harvey should have started. No, although I don't see a big issue there.
Well, had a really good game.
Yeah, actually, I don't have a problem with that too. I think Reyna was the person that was missing and kind of affected that attack, which we needed.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's look at the big change. David Ousted on the bench for this one. Stefan Marinovic coming in. Can you read too much into that, Zach, or was this just a good game to get Marinovic's first minutes in MLS, especially because he's probably going to be the starting keeper next year?
It's hard not to read something into it, right? I mean, David's contract is up. He's on significant money. I think probably more money than the player union thing lets on about. And I don't think. I think it's very easy to read something into this. Now, it might come to nothing, but it's hard not to see all the factors. When you look at Marinovic coming in as someone who was, if you believe them, highly sought after by a number of clubs, and we felt fortunate to be able to get him. If you also look at the fact that this is the first keeper that new keeper coach Steve Kerr has been responsible for bringing into the team, and obviously David came in under Marius, it's hard not to see this as the potential first action towards the changing of the guard when it comes to the keeper for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, and it's difficult. You don't want to read too much in it, and I think Marinovic was going to get a start at some point because you had to see what he did. But Anna, it was one of those games that if Marinovic had had a blinder and had a clean sheet, pulled off a couple of game-winning saves, you're then in the situation of what do you do next week? Do you bring Ousted back, or do you keep the guy in that's just had a great game? So it was a dangerous thing in that regard to do, but he didn't have a lot to do. He didn't have much of a chance with the goal, but I think what he did well.
I think he did well. I don't think he was tested too much, but I think that he handled what he needed to adequately, and I don't put the goal on him. I think that was a bit of a defensive breakdown, and I don't think it was completely in his hands. But you have to give him a chance. You got to test him out before you get into more important games, into your home stretch before the playoffs. You have to figure these things out. How does this guy play, and what does it all look like? And would you have preferred if he had not started that game and started the first home game back? Yeah,
I mean, it's a big, busy stretch coming up, and we'll look at that in the second part. I mean, Steve, what did you think of Marinovic overall? And do you think the writing is on the wall for Ousted?
Well, I personally thought the writing was on the wall when they signed him initially. And we talked about that when they signed him. I thought that this is a move that Ousted was not going to come back for next year. As the way he played, I think he got kicked in the head just before he let it go. Yeah. And so I don't. That might have had a little bit of an effect on that.
And like his compatriot Gleeson as well went off injured, so we could have had both starting or both Kiwi keepers in MLS out injured.
Yeah, so I thought he played well. He commanded the box and enough for, especially for being a new teammate. So I don't really put the goal on him, like Anna said, but you still would love to see New England do something to show that he can make that big save. But New England didn't really provide anything for him to do.
Yeah, and I think I'll pose to you then, Zach. Like, I think most of us expect David is going to move on. He's talked about wanting to pursue opportunities in Europe if they came up. He was on the radio during the week and very uncommittal about his future. Basically said, "You'll know when I know," which is Robbo's standard answer when he gets asked about transfer rumours. Could you even imagine a situation where, with the European window still being open, that Usted leaves the club in this window?
I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen. I wouldn't be shocked, if that were to happen. I'd be a little bit surprised if he doesn't see out the season. But I think, going back to what Steve just said, I think the writing was on the wall when Marius left. Like, Marius was the one who brought him here. Marius, I think, was probably someone who played a significant role in helping him get re-upped on his contract a couple years ago, or whenever that was, when he got a wage increase. And I think that was pretty significant. And so all these other things that have kind of been the fruit of that. So yeah, no, I would be a little bit surprised. It would be shocking, but not totally surprising if somehow he were to move. But that would also mean they'd have to terminate a contract, I think, in some way. Like, it's a bit tricky, right? Obviously, the European window is open until August 31st.
Well, they can sell him as well.
Yeah. Well, can they?
Well, they can.
Can they sell him?
If the European window is open, then they can sell him.
They can sell him now.
Oh, they can sell during the European window. Okay. Then, yeah. But I don't. Is there going to be a buyer?
No, I personally wouldn't.
When they know he's potentially free in January.
Yeah, well, that's the thing as well. I mean, he's going into an option year. We believe, or our understanding is that his option is higher than what he's currently on. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if the Whitecaps even want him to take a pay cut, never mind give him a pay increase. And of course, another player whose contract is up at the end of this season, and he would be a free agent if he wanted to, is Jordan Harvey. And, I mean, will they even want to bring him back at the salary that he's on, or would they want to try and get him in at a lower amount as well? Because they know how much he loves Vancouver, and he would want to stay here. There's backups in Marcel de Jong, Brett Levis. They can always bring in another left back.
And Brett Levis made his return today too. Yeah,
and Harvey was missing for the second of 3 games on this road trip, and to me that was the big surprise, Anna.
It was a surprise. I think there's a very competent backup, if not more so, in Marcel de Jong. So how do you always play Harvey and never give de Jong a chance? What's the point of de Jong being here if he never plays a game? Yeah,
and the thing is, like we talked about, if Marinovic had come in and had a blinder, de Jong did really well. I mean, for me, I had it down between de Jong and Nerwinski as the Whitecaps man of the match.
Yeah, I thought Nerwinski. I called for Nerwinski as being my man of the match.
Absolutely.
What about you, Zach?
Yeah, well, Jake, I think, contributed more going forward, so it was hard not to see him as, man of the match. But does anyone really care in a man of the match in a losing cause? I don't think
no,
so.
Well, I even I saw on Vancouver Twitter's page that they didn't even tweet it out who their man of the match was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, but they do that all the time because of sponsorship, man. It's
no, they didn't. They didn't
do it.
They didn't do it this week. Yeah, so either the sponsorship is out or they didn't feel like tweeting anything after that game.
No, the sponsorship is still there.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a really good site called WhoScored.com, and I had access to Opta at the start of the season, but I kind of lost my access to that. Long story. So I've been using.
You didn't pay the bills.
Yeah. The WhoScored.com site is fantastic. It's got a lot of good stats on it. I've been using it a lot this season.
And free,
which is always good for a Scottish person. They had Nerwinski and de Jong as the 2 highest rating players. They had de Jong at 7.39. They had Nerwinski at 7.26. Nerwinski had 82 touches, de Jong 76. And
now, does this go into the Audi index from Melissa?
I don't know. I think this one possibly goes into the Skoda Index.
Okay.
Can we give an honorable mention to Tony Chaney for 92% accuracy?
Yes, that was impressive.
Surprising, but I'll take it.
It was very surprising because I hadn't noticed him. And at the end of the game, I thought, oh, that was a nothing game from Chaney. He was invisible. No. And I looked at the stats. I'm like, yeah. Although I did spend the first half talking to you on the phone, Steve. So
part of it, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really watch a lot of it. I was quite boring by that point.
Yeah.
Not the phone call with you. That's always exhilarating.
You know.
But, Zach, Nerwinski and De Jong, two good fullbacks. De Jong had a good game. Do you keep him in now next week, or do you bring Harvey back? And if De Jong keeps his place, is that a message being sent to Harvey that, look, you're not indispensable. We've got other guys that might want to come and play cheaper?
Has anyone checked, is Jordan Harvey, expecting a second child or anything? Or does buying a new home count as?
Well, David Oustez just bought a new home as well.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and his daughter's due to start school this year.
There you go. Marcel, I think we've said this. I've said this in the past. I think Marcel plays best in a Canada kit, and it looks like coming out of the Gold Cup, he's carried some of that form that he usually has for Canada. The issue with Marcel. One of the issues with Marcel is that he's not a fullback.
Not a classic fullback.
Yeah, he's an attacking left-sided player. So we can play him there, but we also, in the long term, have to remember that it's going to come with some costs defensively at some point. It might come with some huge upside offensively, but there will be some downside offensively. I think not the more exciting thing, but I think if Jordan Harvey were to move on, if an option was taken on Marcel's contract, you still have Brett Levi's, and although he also is a converted fullback, someone who was as we know,
he's doing well
back in the day was an attacking player. Yeah, he was converted to fullback. I think he is more the long-term ideal for Vancouver when it comes to their roster, right? Just think about in terms of the cap or the salary budget or whatever, and he would be able to fit he would be able to help them by not having to pay a left back a crazy amount of money, say below 100 or below 100, below 150, whatever, and really, really help, because I think he will be able to contribute in the long term.
And I think,
it is going to be interesting to see what happens because we do have now, by the end of the season, there expects to be 3 healthy left fullbacks, and I can't see that situation going into 2018.
No, definitely not.
And the thing is, this seems to be the rage to convert wingers to fullbacks. You look at Michael Petrasso recently changed to right back.
Yeah.
On the Canadian women's national team, they seems to be they could get anybody who's a winger and put them back at fullback because they got a dearth of wingers there.
Have we given up on Sam Adekubi ever coming back?
Yeah, he's never coming back.
I don't think he wants to come back.
He doesn't
his
want
head and his heart are over in Europe.
We'll sign him as a 29, 30-year-old DP.
Yeah, if it fails for him, I mean, he might be back, which of course we don't want to see. But that's
he'll end his career in the Canadian Premier League playing for Calgary.
Oh. Well, that's some of our thoughts on the game. Let's hear a little bit from both coaches now. First of all, we'll hear from Carl Robinson, and then we'll hear a little bit from Jay Heaps. And there's some interesting comments from Heaps that we'll talk about after you hear them.
Gaff had the chances at the ending, but it just wasn't going into the net tonight.
No, we didn't have the luck that we probably needed. Obviously, the first goal was always going to be crucial. We conceded off our goal kick. We were a little bit open, and credit to them, they got their first goal. But from the moment the goal went in, I thought we showed a lot of character, lots of half chances, hit the crossbar, but it didn't fall for us. So, unfortunately, we were unable to get anything out of the game.
Pleased with the reaction, though, after the goal from the guys?
I am, yeah, and I expect that from them now. Every time we go a goal behind, I ask them to step it up and play with a little bit more tempo, and they did that. Obviously, the introduction of 1 or 2 players off the bench made an impact as well, but there was a lot of good performances today, even though we got no reward.
You had a number of changes from one week to the other. Were you happy with how the guys reacted?
I was, yeah. Now, listen, give me a few headaches now. There's good competition for places all over the park, and when you're in the team, you got to step up and play well. And if you're coming off the bench, you got to make an impact. But as I said, there was a lot of good performances. One goal was probably always going to win the game either way. Unfortunately for us, they got the first goal.
First chance for fans to see Stefan Marinovic. Just what do you make of his play?
Strong, really strong. I thought he was at ease, and most of the time he obviously got kicked to the head. So, I was worried about him then, but strong performance by him.
Unfortunate to lose Matty Laba in the first half. Any update on him?
Yeah, no, that doesn't look good. So, fingers crossed. Obviously, I think his knee is jarred on the pitch, which was a little bit spongy. So, it doesn't look good, to be fair.
3 road games in a row now, 15,000 kilometers traveled. Are you happy to go back home with a ton of matches at BC Place coming up?
Yes, very pleased and looking forward to it greatly. We've been on the road. We know we got a lot of travel, and I asked them before the game, don't use the travel as an excuse. Put in a performance, and I think we performed well. Obviously, we got no points. But there was a lot of good things. We'll take the positives from this. We'll rest up next week, and obviously we've got 3 games the following week, 2 at home and 1 away, where we've got to try and pick up points to catch the chasing pack.
Huge, only because we had a tough one last week, and felt like we needed to really focus on that again as one of our key key points of emphasis this week and objectives this week. So, good week of training that led to it in terms of that. But overall, the game was not. There wasn't a ton of flow to the game, and it was really, as I said, clunky. Right, just the tempo wasn't there, and it was whether we were giving a couple bad passes away, or injuries, or guys going down, or they were kicking it out. They did a nice job of disrupting the flow. And when you're on the road, there's a recipe to why Vancouver's good on the road. They know how to disrupt what you're trying to do, and then they have the ability to beat you if you take your eye off the ball for 1 minute. I mean, Teixeira, Montero, those guys are as dangerous as they come.
We saw a video, such a replay used twice tonight. Your general thoughts, not necessarily about the calls themselves, but about the program that you brought into MLS.
Yeah, I think last week you could have caught me out for the game. It would have been a little different conversation. But the reality is, I'm a fan of it if they get it right. And I think, I think for me it can't be something where it over referees. But I thought tonight they did a nice job of seeing and moving on from it. Because I'd rather them look at it and make the right call than not look at it and think they made it. Because I think in our game last week there was that challenge on that Akam did on Caldwell for the yellow card. They didn't go review that. I don't mind. They wouldn't review Tony's and say, hey, for me, it just calms everyone down, right? Because we believe after looking at it, the foul on Akam was a red card, and wish that he'd just gone over and looked at it. And if he looked at it and made the decision, no, okay. So tonight, the way it was used, both against us and for us, it was seamless. I thought he handled it well. He listened, and he didn't make any real game-changing calls, but other than adding the time on at the end of the game for stoppage time, it was pretty seamless. 6 minutes, Frank. A lot of 6 minutes up there. I haven't gotten 6 minutes all year.
He's the gaffer. You can't try it up with him. He's the gaffer. Even when he's on a limb. He's the gaffer. When his back's against the wall, has the answer to it all. He's the gaffer.
The gaffer's there talking about yesterday's game, and the thing that I found interesting from Jay Heaps was he was talking about, to him, Vancouver, he says, know how to play perfectly on the road because they break the game up all the time, they slow it down. He felt that's what we were doing last night, and he seems to think that we have found the perfect way to play on the road, which to an extent we have. We've got a lot of wins this year, but is this the key to winning in MLS? Is it a case of you want to just play choppy on the road?
I don't think so. I think that it makes for a very boring and unattractive product at times, and I don't think that's the way that we want it to be. I think I would prefer to see more attack, and I would, that's what I want.
I'm fine with grinding out 1-0 wins. And if we did that the whole season, I know it's not attractive to watch. I was bored during the game last night. I think my match report, the paragraph, I had one paragraph for the first half.
Yeah.
And we've got something still to talk about the game when I'm being in the first half. But looking at the goal, it was a defensive breakdown. I don't think you can put too much on Marinovic for it. Some folks said he maybe should have come out a little bit, but he tried to make himself as big as possible. I think that was all it was. And Zach, I know you feel that Kendall maybe got sucked in a little bit because of the danger of Kamara.
Yeah, well, I think the goal was maybe the one time in the evening where, Kendall got caught high, defending Kamara high, and created a nice void that Teal ran into, and it wasn't, fully picked up by Tim and the fullbacks, and it was a beautiful cross from Kellen Rowe and a great finish. But yeah, Kendall came up high to do what he was supposed to do, and they took advantage of the space.
So let's talk about the big incident that happened in the first half. Matty Laba went down twice. Second time he had to go off. Second time, when a player goes down and there's no one around him, you know it's a bad injury. Robbo said there that it's not looking good. We may not see him back this season. Who knows? It seems to be his knee. A big loss, Steve, or not so much with the addition of Ghazal and Jacobson and Chani being here?
It might not be that big of a loss. There might be other positions that might have been hurt more. I would name, for example, Kendall Waston, Freddie Montero, and maybe one of the wingers, like Chichera. Laba right now, while he does offer a bit, there are other options in the midfield. And obviously, like you said, they signed the new Egyptian, Ghazal, and I think that might be a really good timing on that signing.
Yeah,
hopefully
impeccable timing.
He hasn't played at all, I don't think, this year, so hopefully he can get into football game shape soon.
Yeah, I mean that is a worry. And
right now, I'm thinking Jacobson and Chani are the two guys, and hopefully Waston doesn't have to go do more immigration stuff. And hopefully,
I think that's all sorted now. So I think we're all good with that. But yeah, Laba, I mean, he had 100% passing accuracy yesterday in the 28 minutes that he was on. So I can't knock that. I mean, what do you think, Anna? Do you see Laba being a big loss or not so much?
I think he will be a big loss. I think that he does provide that kind of security that we need, but I think it was a smart decision to load up on all of these defensive midfielders, and I think that's going to end up working out for us, hopefully, as long as he can get up to speed quickly. I'm looking forward to seeing what Aly can do, but I mean, Chani's done really well this year. I know he's had some moments where he looks a little shaky, and some of us are unsure, but
3 goals.
He's had 3 goals.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that if he just stays he doesn't try to do too much, that's better for him. When he tries to do too much, that maybe he gets himself in trouble.
Yeah.
And now if he's sitting there as the main guy, as the main DM, Jacobson is the one that pushes forward, maybe that might be a better option.
Mm-hmm. So just rounding off on the New England game, both sides were fairly evenly matched. 12 shots each, possession was pretty much 50-50. The telling moment was just that one chance that New England took and we didn't. So we're going to say goodbye to Zach for now. We're going to bring him back later on the show, and we'll be back with more chat after this. The Upangi Bottoms there, Edmonton punk band from the 80s with Egyptian Holiday. We're going to have this show as an Egyptian-themed show.
A couple of segments.
Yeah. We've got decor all around the studio. I asked everyone to bring a mascot along with them. Steve, you've done well.
I haven't done anything. I have ordered my kids to do stuff.
Your kids have done well.
Yes, they have.
We'll
one did. One kid did.
Okay.
It's only the younger
Your talented kid did well.
Yes.
So we'll tweet some of these out, but they seem to have built a pyramid.
pyramid out of Lego, and a sphinx.
Yes.
You can't forget about the Sphinx.
That's your lucky mascot for tonight.
Yeah, and it's multicolored too, so in honor of Pride
Oh.
as well, so rainbow colors.
We're going to be doing a quiz later, so that's hopefully going to bring you good luck in that.
Okay.
And Anna, what did you bring along as your mascot?
I brought along a wooden camel that I
Oh.
picked up in Egypt.
And it's a one-humped camel.
It's a single hump. Yeah.
And you've been to Egypt?
I have been to Egypt.
And you have too, Michael.
Yeah. When did you go?
2010.
I think I was about...
Were you trying to get away from the Olympics?
2004.
It was not.
It was great. I went on a day trip. We went to Cyprus, and you can fly there and do a day trip. Left at 6 in the morning, got home at 1 the next morning, went all round the Sphinx, the pyramids,
Oh, wow.
got dropped off at an Egyptian market. That was very scary.
Yeah, it's pretty scary there.
Yeah.
The driving is pretty terrifying.
I'm wearing my East Fife top from circa that year, which is what I wore on that trip, and everyone was wanting to exchange it. A lot of people seem to think it was a Real Madrid top. I really don't know that they thought it was East Fife, but kind of wish I had, because then I could have had an Egyptian top to wear tonight.
Maybe there's a lot of East Fife fans in Egypt.
There could be. No Egyptian tops being worn tonight, but Anna, you are repping your home country.
I am. I don't get many opportunities to wear an Iran kit, but I am wearing one tonight.
And we will get some photos out for everyone. We need to get some cameras set up in here.
We might do that next week.
Yeah.
I'm
It's-
efforting right now.
Yeah. And you are wearing a Balor Club.
Balor Club, yeah. They're worldwide, so that, I guess, they're in Egypt
Oh, they're
as
in
well.
Egypt. Bound to be, yeah. So I've also brought my mummy with me.
Came all the way from Scotland?
Yeah. She's seen better days. The whole Egyptian theme, it's because, as we mentioned just before the break there, the Whitecaps have a new addition.
Yeah.
Aly the Ghazal. I'm trying to get the Ghazal nickname to catch on.
I'm sure it will.
Southsiders want Gaza with an H,
Okay.
because then you've got Gaza Strip,
Okay.
which would be good. But did you know that Ghazal was not the only Egyptian player at the Whitecaps?
Do tell.
Shea holding this up, which, again, this doesn't really
This
work
is a
good on
radio show. Did
Yeah.
you know that?
There is an Egyptian god called Shea. He's covering his face. He's maybe not wanting to be seen. Or she.
As opposed to the other Shay who loves to be seen.
Yes. Same kind of hairstyle, I
Yeah,
think.
they do have the same
He's,
hair.
he's holding a tablet.
Yes.
The other Shay loves to hold his guns.
Yeah. Maybe that's what the tablet actually says. It's like something about US and guns. I don't know. Anyway, Ghazal.
The actual Egyptian, Aly Ghazal, is in town. They signed him from another Chinese team, so a second player to come over from China. Freddie Montero being the first.
Yeah, and Angus Walker on Twitter asked, did he come here because of the pyramids on the Whitecaps badge?
Oh, that could be it.
It's a really good.
Maybe he saw it as
Yeah.
pyramids.
We think they're mountains, but he sees them as pyramids.
Yeah.
It's a great scheme anyway to get him over here. He'll do well in the Amway, if it was still Amway.
Oh, because of the pyramid
Yeah,
scheme.
pyramid
That
scheme.
makes sense.
But it was a signing that I think maybe surprised a lot of people. I was told a couple of weeks ago that we were going to be bringing in a DM that could also cover at centre-back. Then, of course, Straith arrived at training, and I thought, it's Adam Straith. So we interviewed him for the show last week. But no, it was not Adam Straith. It was Aly Ghazal. And a good bit of business with the Whitecaps, considering the Chinese club, whose name I can't remember, but they paid, what's it, 2.8 or
2.6.
2.6 million euro transfer fee for him.
Gaizu Zinching.
Didn't make a single appearance. Was that the guy who paid the money? Or was that
No,
the
no,
club?
that was the net team's name.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming I'm pronouncing it right.
But, I mean, we're getting a player that basically cost 3 million euros on a free transfer.
Yeah.
Now, that is a good bit of business. Robbo said he made a cheeky little bid to try and get him before he went to China. Gonna guess it wasn't as much as 2.8 million euro.
No, I'm almost 100% sure it wasn't that much.
Pretty sure it probably wasn't even $2.8.
No.
No, in the front office.
He was playing in the Portuguese first division.
was.
Or the
He was
Premier
the
Division.
club captain of
Yeah.
Nacional.
Yeah, which is pretty big.
But I mean, Anna, were you surprised to see another DM coming in? It didn't really strike us as the position of need. In hindsight, now with Laba going down, it's a fantastic acquisition.
It looks
but
really smart now.
it did seem a strange one.
It did seem a bit strange, but it makes sense if contracts are expiring and you're trying to get coverage. for different positions, it does make sense.
Yeah, because Laba, he still harbours hopes of going to play in Europe. And
like most players do.
Yeah.
He's not the only one.
Well, Whitecaps just lost their under-16 captain to Bulgaria, Alessandro Hojabrpur.
Yeah.
Don't think I would
say that again.
Yeah, Alessandro. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, I think he's gone to Bulgaria. I think he's Bulgarian himself with descent.
Bulgarian under-19 team he signed for. So a big loss. He was very highly thought of. He was your number one in the Whitecaps under-16s one to watch.
Yeah, and we were both thinking it was Jesse. I think it was Rodriguez. No, I can't remember. The strikers guy that scored a lot for the U16.
Jose Hernandez.
Yeah, whatever.
Jesse Rodriguez?
I don't remember names. I'm very bad at remembering names. But we thought it was him. That was number one. And then when we talked to the guy our scout that watches a lot of the games.
You nearly said who it was, yeah.
I never said who it was.
No, you nearly did.
Okay. But the guy we talked to, he basically said, no, this is the guy that's number one. He's the best player.
We actually spoke to a few folk this year, and they were all very high on him. So that's a big loss to the Caps. But
he went on a free, so he could come back anytime he wants to and join the team again.
But Ghazal in the team.
Yeah.
We don't know, as we said, how fit he is to go. Thankfully, in some regard, he didn't play for the Chinese team.
Yeah.
Because you can't play for 3 clubs in a calendar year.
I didn't know that at all.
So if he had, he wouldn't have been able to play for the Whitecaps. But he only played for Nacional, didn't play any minutes for China. But now he's coming here, not having played for 8 months.
How long had it been for Reyna, when Reyna came, that he hadn't played?
I don't know, because they said he wasn't up to match fitness, but then he got injured. So
and then he definitely wasn't up for match fitness.
I think we're probably just talking a couple of months. I don't think we've had anyone that hasn't played for this long a period.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had like UK folk that's maybe 2 or 3 months, but...
Like I remember when Pedro Morales came in, he came right off playing for them, and then so he basically played 18 straight months.
Yeah, which is the other thing that's not great either, because you don't want them. Yeah, that's the problem with signing anyone in the summer window that's just finished a season. Mm-hmm. Like David Edgar had just played a whole season with Sheffield United, had been in pre-season mode and wasn't fit to go.
The thing is with Ghazal is he's not coming off an injury or anything like that. He's just coming off not playing because of the roster rules. So he should be in training fitness at least. So it's just a matter of getting maybe a week or two and he gets into game fitness.
Hopefully sooner rather than later, yeah.
From what we've seen of his highlight reel, he's not a DM that scores a lot of goals. I think he scored 1. But he does seem to like to go box to box. He's going to be a guy he's obviously highly thought of. You don't become a captain of a Premier team in Portugal without having some skill. So it's impossible really to say what he's going to bring. I know nothing about him. Hopefully he's going to do well. I don't think he's going to get the start against Houston, though. I think it is likely to be Chaney and Jacobson just because he hasn't played. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see him at training this week just to see how soon he can go in. But he has joined the team. Another guy that joined this week was Aaron Mond. And as one centre-back come, we say goodbye to another. Christian Dean moved on to pastures new at Chicago. Wish Christian nothing but the best. A great guy. We've spoken to him a lot. On the record, off the record, we chat to him all the time at training. One of my favourite guys to speak to just because he's so genuine and you really want him to do well for the right reasons. He's been through so much. He had a lot of talent, but those foot injuries, you have to think he could just be one foot injury away from career ending.
The best way to sum up my thoughts on Christian Dean going is I'm glad he's going, and I hope he makes Vancouver regret that he's gone. That's how highly I regard him as a person. So I'm hoping he makes Vancouver regret. I hope he has a great career, and I hope he starts at least 12 games so he gets another 50,000, and maybe they sell him off and we get some more money.
I mean, Anna, what did you feel about the Dean move? It looked like it was on the cards for a while. The fact that they hadn't been playing him in USL, it was as if they had a deal possibly lined up and they just didn't want him to get injured. But are you sad to see him go, or does it just make sense for both parties now that he moves on?
I think it makes sense. He was on a lot of money on his carryover from the GA contract, I think. So it makes sense for everybody. And sometimes when you do get a new fresh start, you can make it work for you and do a lot better. I was optimistic of what he could do for us when we were starting out the season this year, but he never really found his place behind Timmy and behind Kendall, and I hope that he does well in Chicago.
And last season, pre-season, I had him ahead of Parker. Just the way that he played at pre-season, him and Kendall together looked so good together. Mm-hmm. And then the injuries hit. One thing which he told us, which I think it's fine to mention this now since he's not with the Whitecaps, but in his foot, he hasn't got a lot of feeling. When they were doing the surgery, they kind of snipped some of the nerves. So he can't actually feel if it breaks again or if he's in pain, which is great because in one regard, you're going into tackles and you're not going to feel anything. But then if he injures himself again, he may not know and he might be doing himself more damage. And like Steve, you were one of the guys that was speaking to him about that.
Yeah, and I've mentioned to him that, he could be in Wolverine where he doesn't feel any pain at all. But no, yeah, it's a difficult thing that, you go in for a regular surgery and you find out that like there's a screw up like that. And then if he breaks his foot, he's not going to know.
Yeah.
So they got to double check and everything. And I was always thinking that maybe because I think it was after the RSL game where he stopped playing for a while.
Yeah.
And maybe during that RSL game where everybody was complaining how badly he played, maybe he was playing with that, that foot broken at that time. And they just didn't know it.
I mean, he had a stinker of a game, but he had a great first game of the season against
Philadelphia.
He
was
showed what he can do.
Yeah.
He just needs the consistency. It was interesting. Andy O'Brien put a tweet out wishing him all the best and saying that he hopes he gets he hopes he gets the right coaching and is in the right environment to kind of bring him on. And I think one good thing about going to Chicago is he's playing home games anyway on grass.
Yeah.
He's not going to be on turf, which is going to be a killer for him. But I mean, let's wish him all the best. He's moved on. We've now got a new guy back, Aaron Mond.
A lot of experience for a young
not
guy.
on as much money as Dean either.
Yeah.
But the experience he brings could be invaluable because Andrew Jacobson's done well when he's come in to cover. But he isn't a centre-back.
No.
I would have had faith, though, going forward with him and Parker. I thought they did well together. But, I mean, that Kendall's going to be away on international duty, possibly suspensions, although he's really cleaned his act up. But do you know much about Mond that makes you think it was a great acquisition, apart from the experience?
No, I'll be honest with you. When I heard of his name, I go, oh, no, not that guy. I didn't like him that much at TFC. And then I looked at him, I go, no, that's not the right guy.
Yeah, because I was the same. Steve and me were talking on the phone. We both thought he was a white guy. So I don't know who the hell we think.
Yeah, I don't know who that player is.
Aaron Mond is, but
but we totally honestly, because I'm not going to watch TFC games that closely. It might be on the background on the TV, but I'm not going to watch it. So I for some reason I associated Aaron Mond with him. Maybe he was playing with the guy.
I know,
and I did and I thought it was
a different guy. But
I think the only thing I'm afraid of about Mond is I have a Twitter friend who's a huge RSL fan, and he didn't say anything about, oh, shucks, we lost him. So
no, but I thought he was one of their best players last year.
But that's always like when opposition fans are like, oh, we're really disappointed to see the guy go. That's when you're thinking, yeah, we got a great deal.
Yeah, but when they're radio silence, you kind of wonder.
But they didn't give up anything for him.
That's true.
No.
Third rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we didn't lose anything.
I mean, how many third rounders make it with any teams in
Spencer
MLS?
Ritchie.
Well, he's not made it yet.
No, not yet.
He had a howler today for WFC2 for the second goal.
That was ugly.
There was a pass back. He just seemed to spend forever on it and then got tackled.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk a little bit about WFC2 in the last part. But yeah, Mond's come in, Ghazal's come in. Looking forward to seeing them both in action. So, keeping the Egyptian theme going, we're going to do the first of what's probably the only time we do this. Let's play Away with the Pharaohs. So, some great music going on there. So, let me explain what we're going to do here. I have two envelopes here. One marked envelope A, one marked envelope B.
You could have got out of your bag earlier.
Yeah, I know, that was quite bad. So, in one of these envelopes, there is a list of 12 names. In the other, there's a list of 12 names. Do you see where I'm going here?
Yeah, 12 names.
Yeah, 12 names. We're going to do this in 2 parts, and we're going to give Anna first choice. One of the envelopes has a list of Egyptian footballers or Egyptologists. The other envelope has a list of either Egyptian footballers or Egyptian rulers. And you have to tell me which one is which.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Egyptologist, I'm not going to have any
you
idea.
didn't have that was interesting.
Yeah.
You didn't mean that.
No.
Okay, so let's give Anna the choice. Do you want envelope A or envelope B?
B.
Okay.
Does she have to go first, or can she choose to go second?
Can I?
No, she has to
maybe
go.
I have to go check out my parking. Can I get out of here?
This is going to work, trust me. I tried this with my wife. She got most of them right.
She's probably a better woman than I am.
Well, she's into Egyptology, so. Okay, so you have got, is this an Egyptologist or a current Egyptian footballer who is currently playing overseas?
Oh, boy.
So just say footballer or Egyptologist. Sam Morsey.
Footballer.
Correct. He's currently with Wigan Athletic in England. Bing! 1 point. Georges Goyon.
Footballer.
French Egyptologist who spent 20 years excavating Tanis and studying the stones of the Great Pyramid of Cheops. Mahmoud Mahar Taha.
Footballer.
Egyptologist. He's the current General Director of the Centre of Documentation and Studies on Ancient Egypt. Ali Hassan.
Footballer.
Correct. Formerly of Ottawa Fury, currently with San Antonio in the USL. Alexander Jacobson.
Egyptologist.
Footballer. Born in Denmark, plays for IFK Norrköping in Sweden, but made the switch to Egypt at under 20 and senior level in 2013. And your last one for this round, Rami Jazin Gandour.
Egyptologist.
Footballer.
Oh, no.
He plays for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. So what's the score? Oh, just 2 for Anna in that one. So we'll come back to Anna in part 3. This seemed better in my head. Most things usually do.
Everything does.
Yeah. So Steve, it's your turn now.
Okay, here we go. Now this is good because Egyptologist, I had no idea. I do know some Egyptian leaders.
Yeah, sadly though, you're going to switch these in the second part.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, let's get through this a bit quicker.
Okay.
Honey.
That's it?
Oh, I should explain. Right. Is it an Egyptian ruler or a current or former national team player? So just say ruler or footballer.
Okay.
Honey.
Football player.
Not ruler. He was the last pharaoh during the Old Kingdom's third dynasty.
I didn't know you were going to include pharaohs.
Karaba.
Footballer.
Correct. His name means electricity, and he plays for the Saudi Premier League club Al Ittihad. Rami Rabia.
I'm going to say ruler.
Footballer. Centre back for Al Ahly, and he played with Montero at Sporting in Portugal. Kwakari Ini.
Ruler.
Yes, end of the 11th and start of the 12th dynasty. Netjerkari Sipta.
Ruler.
Yes, 7th and last ruler of the Old Kingdom, 6th dynasty. And your last one, Jedkari Essesi.
Footballer.
Ruler, 8th and penultimate ruler of the 5th dynasty. So how many was that?
You got 3 right.
3. So Steve is in the lead. And just explain what you're playing for. You are playing for a wonderful pyramid of chocolate.
Which is fantastic because I'm allergic to chocolate.
Yeah, I forgot that. But you could give it to your kids. It's Roger's chocolate from Victoria, so fantastic. It was modelled on one of the early pyramids before they actually knew how to build them. It hasn't travelled well. Let's just hope Aly Ghazal travels a little bit better.
Doesn't look like it's structurally sound.
No, this was my second attempt. This literally took me minutes. I know you'll find that hard to believe.
That's tough.
Yeah, so let's just put that down there. Again, we'll send these photos out. So, we've talked a lot about the New England game and the players coming in. So, we had a fun game there. Let's do a little bit more. We're going to do reasons to be cheerful and reasons to be miserable. So, with Anna being part of the Optimist Union, we're going to start with reasons to be cheerful.
Reasons to be cheerful. Part 3.
Reasons to be cheerful. Reasons to be cheerful.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, so let's have some reasons to be cheerful, Anna. Whitecaps, 1 point from the last 2 games, if you want to take the pessimistic approach.
You just said reason to be
I know,
cheerful.
I'm building it up. Not a great performance in New England. Who knows what's happening with some of our senior players? Give us some reasons to be cheerful.
Reasons to be cheerful. I think we have, if you look at the lineup, if you look at the players that we have, I think we have the pieces to have an exciting team and play some exciting soccer. The potential is there. And I know that we've seen it. I mean, 4-0 in Dallas. If I had told you at the beginning of this year that was going to happen with the players that we had, would you have believed me?
No.
Okay. So
I would have said you're just being too optimistic.
that's true. If I had told everyone at the beginning that...
you might have been locked up if you
I
were trying to convince
probably
folk that they were going to win 4-0 in Dallas.
But we did it. I watched it gleefully at home. So the potential is there to watch exciting games, to have excellent goals, and to get it done. That's one reason to be cheerful.
Any from you, Steve?
I think the fact that they have, there's, I think, 6 of their 7 next home games. I think that's definitely a reason, that they have, and they got so many games in hand as well.
Yeah, but points on the board.
Points on the board, yes.
Better than games in hand.
In the bush. What?
Yeah.
No.
No. So, there are some reasons to be cheerful just now, but there's also some reasons to be miserable.
Reasons to be miserable. Another good excuse to be dead. It's one more thing to gripe about as I while away my days in bed.
Yeah, I've got a new reason to be miserable. My chocolate pyramid has collapsed. It's a sad sight. I never even got my photo taken to tweet out about it.
You could take it like that.
It looks...
And it kind of fits the miserable part of the thing.
Yeah, it looks like Egyptian ruins now, so that's quite good. But reasons to be miserable. I'll give some of these.
Chocolate pyramid is reason to be
chocolate
miserable.
pyramid, that's all. That's the end of this section. Now we'll be back after that. Yeah, we have 6 of our next 7 games at home, but the next 2 games are against the top 2 teams in the West. We've got Houston and we've got Seattle Sounders coming. 4 of the last 5 games are on the road. So it's a tough run-in. Have to take points in these games that's coming up at home. Their home form's up and down.
Can I say about Houston, though, they are doing really well in the West, but they're abysmal on the road.
Yes, they are.
They're a horrendous road.
We're going to preview the Houston game in part 3, but yeah, they are. So I guess that's you looking for on the bright side of things. Any other reasons to be miserable?
I think the fact that they have 6 of the next 7 games at home, and they've been horrible at home this year. I think that's definitely a reason to be miserable.
Fair.
And they need to win. The thing is, they need to win. I think that's 18 points. They can only afford to give up 2 points. They can afford 1 draw, and they have the rest of them they have to win. In real reason.
Looking slightly optimistically, if they do well in these 6 home games, it sets them up so well for the run-in, because you've got games in hand. I mean, Houston, they're 6 points ahead just now, but we have 2 games in hand in them.
Yeah.
Beat them, win the 2 games in hand, we're suddenly top of the West.
Exactly.
Win all these home games, which is maybe a stretch to win 6, but you have to expect to take a lot of points at home, but it puts us right in the mix. And I think if we take double-digit points from these 6 home games,
I think they have to. It's not
don't
even if
see
they
us
do
not
it.
making the playoffs.
It's not even if. They have to make. They have to. I think they have to get 14, 15 points.
Now, I know you're always a cheery person. You're always looking on the bright side. But is there anything that you're worried about or anything that makes you miserable to think about right now?
We don't do well on games that we should do well on, and that's terrifying at home.
Yes, that's
So
true.
We're winning the games that look like the mountain that we will never be able to climb, but when it's Portland at home, we can't get it done.
BC Place is not a fortress anymore. It's a bed and breakfast.
It's as much of a fortress as my Egyptian pyramid.
Yeah, they're serving them points basically in the morning instead of breakfast. It's too easy for them, opposition teams. They need to. Like the New England game, to go back on that, you know how you said they kill the game and everything. They should have gone out and got the first goal and then kill the game. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
They're good enough to get that first goal and then kill the game. But they seem like they don't want to do that.
Another thing that kind of makes me a bit miserable to think too much about is I still don't know that Robbo knows what team he should be putting out there. He's always talking about, I'm going to put out the right team, or I'm putting out a team that I feel can get results, or I put out a team that I feel could win this game. He always says that. He thought it was a good performance against New England. That was one of the things he said post-match.
Which leads to my own thing about him wanting to play that way.
Yeah, but I don't know that I have complete faith in him just now to know who his best team is that he should be putting out there.
Especially now that he's putting emphasis on wanting the competition between players and wanting people to be fighting for their spots. How do you get the cohesive team that is consistent, playing together and getting it done? How do you figure that out if he's just going to keep on trying different guys and based on their competition?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think he knows.
We should have started with the miserable and finishing the cheery, because now I'm feeling a bit down. But do you know what will cheer me up? A chocolate digestive.
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it's unsuggested? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
So you're at home at night, got your beverage of choice, non-alcoholic. Do you go for a tea or a coffee?
At night, it would probably be tea, but for the most part, I just drink water, to be honest.
Are you a kind of cookie person?
Yeah, definitely a cookie guy.
What's your favourite kind of cookie?
Costco cookies.
Oh.
Yeah.
And are you a dunker when you have tea and a cookie?
Yes, absolutely. Prefer milk, but I would go with tea.
That's great. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it's unsuggested? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
Tim Parker there. Didn't fancy a chocolate digestive, but he won't say no to a Costco cookie. And we'll be back with some chat about the Houston game after this. The wonderful sounds of R.E.M. there from their Green Days. Not Green Day, but their Green album. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio, broadcasting from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of British Columbia. So we're going to talk now about the next game that's up for the Whitecaps against Houston. Steve's going to get Zach back on the phone, so we'll kick things off with Anna. Touched on it a little bit there in the last part. Houston doing it at home. On the road, though, just one win for the whole season so far on the road. And not a great road team. They're definitely a team that... This is a game that is there for the taking. I keep saying this and then we don't take it. But this is a game that's there for the taking.
We better take it. That's all I have to say about that. It'll be the first game back in BC Place in a considerable amount of time. We better have 3 points at the end of the day. Yeah.
The next two games are tough. Houston leading the way. Seattle finding a rich vein of form now, second in the West, and then they're coming a few days after the Houston game. Usually when there's two games coming thick and fast, Robbo likes to mix things up, change the lineup a little bit. But I don't know how much you can afford to do that when you're playing two of the top teams that's challenging you for playoff places, and especially a first round bye. Because for all the miserable and pessimistic talk of the last segment, the Whitecaps do have their own fate in their hands. And realistically, if they win their games in hand, if they do well in the remaining matches, there is no reason that they cannot finish in one of the top two spots in the West and get a first round bye.
So they definitely need to take care of this and get the maximum points they can. And like you said, I'm worried that you're saying that this is a game they should take, because that's usually the kiss of death this season.
Well, they struggled against Houston last year, when Houston were dreadful.
Yeah.
Think narrow win, a 0-0 draw. They just didn't do well.
And Houston was horrible last year, too.
Houston are coming into this unbeaten in 6. They've lost 1 of their last 9 games, 2 of their last 12. So they're in form. But these last 6 games, it's 3 wins and 3 draws. So it's not that they're steamrollering everyone. I mean, Zach, what's your feeling coming into this? Are you confident it's a game that they should win, but do you think it's a game that they will win?
It's hard to be confident after what happened in New England, and I think also what happened in Colorado, and looking back to the Portland game at home last month as well. It's hard to have a lot of confidence. Like, there's quite a level of inconsistency that is frustrating and should be concerning. But in one way, it's also par for the course in MLS, right? When part of the desired goal is parity. You're gonna have a good week and you're gonna have a bad week, and so everyone hopes this is a good. Last week was a bad week. This is a good week.
Well, we are. We're kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde team. It's like both sides are battling to try and get out. It's like, is the good side going to win? Is the bad side going to win? And right now, we don't know which side is going to win out in the end, which is a scary prospect. But Houston have some dangerous players. They've got Kubo Torres leading the way. 12 goals, 5 of them penalties though. I know Zach, you say penalties are goals, but 5 penalties. He also is second in the team with shots with 56. Leading the team in shots is the guy that's second with goals, Mauro Manotas. Our good friend Albert Ellis as well. He's got 7 goals and 4 assists. Another guy that's well known to the Whitecaps, Kyoto. He's going to be coming to town. It'll be a treat to watch him.
He's honorary Curver Collective member, I think.
Is he Zach?
No.
But you visited him in the hospital.
Yeah, that's true.
Did he join your arm wrestling club?
No, not so much.
I guess it was hard to with being flattened. But also you've got Alex, who's leading the team with 10 assists. Who worries you the most? Zach?
I mean, it's hard not to be worried about Kubo, especially because he's scored quite a number of goals against us, and memorable ones and meaningful ones. So it's hard not to be worried about him. Like you say,
I've got a headline already. If he scores 1 or 2 goals from a long-range strike, beating the Caps, it's going to be Whitecaps Kubo missile crisis.
Yeah, it's very specific that he has to do.
Yeah, I'm asking for a lot, but it could happen. Anyone else worry you, Zach?
I think I think one thing in the recent form of Houston is that they're playing better defensively, and that should be a concern because the focus is usually their attack is so good, but now they've started to play better defensively, and I know they've been off on the road. I know they only have 1 victory on the road and like 4 draws or whatever for 7 points, but they've been such a good run of form that I don't think people should be too uber confident going into Saturday's match.
That's okay. Uber's not allowed in Vancouver, so we're fine.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, Anna, who worries you the most in this Houston team, or is your biggest worry the Whitecaps turning up?
Alex worries me. Alex is somebody that has given. That I've seen give us a bit of trouble in the past as well.
He is making the team tick, certainly, this year.
Yeah, he's pulling some strings and making things happen, and that's worrisome. Kyoto as well is able to turn on moments of brilliance, and I think he gets a little bit of an extra spark against us a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see what he does.
And Wilmer Cabrera has been held up already as possibly being the coach of the year, just for the way that he's turned the team around. But the money that they spend, it's hard not to turn the team around. And when the team's been so bad as well, it's hard not to turn a team around. And we saw with Colorado last year how easy it is just to make a couple of decent additions to a team, and then you turn it around. But he has done a good job there, Zach.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I think one of the key things is his relationship with Kubo, right? Like Kubo, they spent I think it was $6 or $7 million to transfer him in. And then they couldn't get anything out of him virtually.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a busted flush, but he's turned it around.
I think it was the coaching change that made the big difference.
Well, yeah. He probably didn't understand the word Owen Coyle said.
Cabrera coached him, I think, back at Chivas, right? And he just has a good relationship with him, and he's been able to get the best out of him, and that's like huge. And I think if Cabrera continues to work on their defensive side of things, I know all it really matters is if you win or not. But if he can work on the defensive side, I think it will help them win a lot more. And for them, hopefully they'll be able to get better results on the road.
So a lot of what's going to happen in this match is going to be down to the Whitecaps though as well. And it's a lot of questions going into this. I mean, I was saying I don't know if Robbo knows what his best team is. I don't know who I would even really put out for this one, Steve.
It's difficult to see. Big thing is, but I do think Osted comes back into the lineup personally. I no matter what the other issues might be, whatever they are, I think Osted comes back. My biggest thing on the back line would be whether it's Nowitzki or Williams. I'm hoping to go into Nowitzki because he keeps playing well, and I don't want to stop a young guy from getting it. Because who knows if Williams is here next year.
I do think Nowitzki would have started the week before in Colorado if Kendall had been back and hadn't been missing.
Yeah.
I think they just had to play Shannon for the experience factor in that back line.
Yeah, and I think that maybe they just wanted to... I always thought that maybe they were... they didn't think they were going to win in Dallas, and they put their weaker lineup out there.
Yeah.
My three guys in the midfield, Jacobson, Chani, and Reyna, that's obvious for me. And my front line is Montero, Teixeira, and Bolaños.
I mean, Anna, do you see Ousted coming back in, and do you keep Nerwinski in? Do you keep De Jong in?
I see Ousted back in for the next game, and I think that for me, Nerwinski's doing such a good job. How can you say that you reward good play without letting him kind of have that position? He's not doing anything. He's doing really well. He's not doing anything wrong. And if you say that you are rewarding competition based on play, then Nerwinski has that spot for me right now. Beyond that, I think if Davies is back and Davies is healthy, I'd like to see him get some more minutes and see what he does with them.
Zach, what's your feeling on the lineup?
Yeah, no, I think I'd be surprised if Jake doesn't start. I'd be surprised if David doesn't start. The bigger question for me is left back. I would kind of expect Jordan to come back in, but that could be interesting to see what happens there. In terms of, I think the other interesting thing is the wide players. Yeah, is Alfonso able to start? Like I think lots of fans and supporters would love to see. That's a big question. Does Bola get back in the team? Another important question that needs to be asked, because you have guys like Teixeira, who's contributed quite a bit this year, and you have Brek Shea, who's making a lot of money and was pretty awful last game. So
yeah, it was actually something we never talked about in the first part, was like how dreadful Shea was.
Yeah, he was very poor, and he hasn't looked great actually in a lot of the games he started. He's looked better coming off the bench, which it's a lot of. I know.
Yeah,
you don't want to harp on it. You're paying a lot of money for him to come off the bench.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm the same. I don't like to go on too much about players' salaries, but ultimately you're paying a lot of money for a designated player that is most impactful by playing minimal minutes. If you keep scoring goals and game-winning goals, then you're getting good value and good bang for your buck. For me, I agree with you. I think the big decision is going to be this left-back one. I think De Jong will start. You could say it's maybe a message being sent, but I also think he's earned it. I think he's done really well. The game in Dallas, he did well. He did exceptional. In a losing performance, but he had a really good game against New England. So I think Ousted will come back in. I think Nerwinski will keep his place. Chani Jacobson as your holding two. I would expect Reyna to come in as the number 10 with Bola on the right because he was rested and didn't even travel. On the left, it's a puzzle to me. I don't know. Do you go with Teixeira, who looked electric as a sub the week before, but didn't look too good against New England, but ultimately had some great deliveries and some good chances? I think he'll stay out there, but Davies could come in maybe hour mark, 65 minutes. He loves his his substitutions on the hour mark.
In all this chatter, none of us have mentioned Dabini at all.
Yeah.
Remember him?
I just like him coming off the bench for now until he gets his feet under his ground, feet under him.
It was a little surprising he wasn't brought on as a sub in the last game, actually.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, well...
they had to use one for Laba, that's the problem.
Yeah, I think that he was probably the planned one, but then that went out the window when Laba went off.
And I had no problem with bringing in Reina for Mosquito.
No.
And Davies for Shea.
Mosquito, again, didn't have a great
Start.
performance as a starter.
No.
I don't know, I keep harping on about that, but...
I feel like with Mosquito, I feel the same way that I did with Mane, and it's a firecracker off the bench that kind of can get something started with not very much, but when you start him, it's kind of underwhelming sometimes.
So we'll just go around everyone and get your predictions in. So we'll start with Hannah.
For
Houston.
Since she's the guest.
Yes. She's not a guest, she's our new co-host.
Okay, but this week she's the guest. Next second time, it's the co-host.
I'm gonna go 2-1.
2?
For us.
Oh, okay.
Obviously. I'm the charter member of the
I'll go 2-0 Vancouver.
Oh, you got in there quick. What about you, Zach? 4-5-0?
I'll say 3-1 Houston.
3-1 Houston?
Whoa! Opposite of the Optimists Union.
I'm going to go 2-0 Houston. Because whenever I go for the other team winning, we put in a fantastic performance. So 2-0 Houston.
There you go.
Okay.
Maybe that's what Zach's doing too.
But it is a game, we kind of really have to get these home points. The MLS, the results kind of went in our favour this weekend. Sporting Kansas City lost at the top, but they were playing Seattle, so one of them had to win.
Portland lost.
They were thumped by Toronto. One of the few times I've been happy to see Toronto actually doing well.
San Jose was out.
You have to say it. You accepted that Toronto did well. You can't be happy about it.
See, I hate Portland Timbers. I like Portland as a city. I just like the Timbers to lose, and to me, they are bigger rivals to us than Toronto. But I do hate Toronto. FC, I'm a big Maple Leafs fan.
Yeah, it was just surprising.
Did you like the tifo from Inebriating, Michael?
Oh, I never saw it. What was it?
Oh, it was the Greg father, Greg Vanny, Godfather. It was nice.
That's kind of weird.
It was
look it up.
Nice afterwards as well. Vanny actually had the Whitecaps jersey on under his suit.
He did.
I thought he was wearing pajamas.
But it was a fantastic win for TFC at Argos Stadium, and I mean they've made that place their home.
Yeah, seems like it.
Oh man!
But the results did go in the Whitecaps' favour. Any surprises this week for anyone?
Kaka getting sent off.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Let's talk a little bit about VAR then. Week 1, it seemed to go so smoothly. Week 2, it seemed to show that it's great, but it's still only as good as the idiots looking at the screen to make the decisions to begin with.
Which is my opinion, that you should have the person who's watching the video initially should be making these decisions and just get it out of the referee's hands at the field.
In the defence of the referee, he might not have known that Kaka and Colin were good friends. He might just have seen Kaka trying to stretch his smile.
Yeah, but he was trying to fishhook him a little.
Yeah.
That isn't the first time that someone's hands have touched someone's face and it has resulted in a red card. As much as it was not malicious, you can't touch someone's face.
Well, and VAR was used twice in the Whitecaps game.
Yeah. And
Robbo was shaking his head at the one that brought the free kick right into the edge of the penalty box.
I didn't know that could be done.
I don't think that's actually one of the reasons.
But I think what it is if they see the during watching, like if they were looking at it where there was a red card, for example, if that was the reason they were looking at it,
they were looking to see if it was a penalty.
Yeah, so if they were looking to see if it was a penalty, and then they see that it's the actual spot of the foul is there, then they can use that as. Then they could overrule the initial decision, but they can't. That wasn't the initial reason they were looking at it.
No, I don't think the intention was to find out exactly where it was.
Yeah.
It was mistaken identity. They got the wrong blade of grass.
Oh, that's it. Well, they don't have grass there.
What do you think the Kaka?
The Kaka sending off was absolutely ridiculous. That's like, if you need context, right? Like without context, like things like. it was incredibly frustrating. I hope they challenge it, and I hope they win.
And the thing is,
Because
Colin was fighting for
he was
Kaka.
playing his case.
What the referee should have done was brought Kaka and brought Colin. I can't see everything say Kaka on the radio. So they should have brought them both over, discussed it with them, and Colin would have said that no, we were just joking around, we were just having fun, and then he could have, because he didn't come over and just throw a red card. And once you throw the red card, you can't rescind it.
Yeah. Well, I honestly don't think this will be rescinded.
I don't think so.
Because if Disco rescind it, you're saying the referee didn't get it right to begin with, then watched the TV screen and still didn't get it right.
Yeah.
I just don't think they can because they'll lose face.
I tweeted this to you yesterday. Remember when Kudo got knocked out and Kosic went in there to help him and try to open his mouth and stuff like that because he bit his tongue. If VAR was in last year, he would have got sent off for a red card because he touched his face too.
Very extenuating.
No, Michael, I agree it won't get overturned, but I hope it does. You're right, it won't, but it should.
Do you feel the kick to Marinovic should have been reviewed? Because we saw, I think it was Rivero got a disciplinary disco thing afterwards for a clash on a keeper.
But he kind of dragged his foot on him or something like that. And didn't Manny have one too?
Yeah, Manny as well.
Yeah.
Everything is reviewed, right? And the people watching are reviewing every play that they think is worthy of review. It's only the ones that they think the referee has gone wrong or misjudged or haven't had a good look at or whatever that he plays the charades game and says it's a TV show and I'm going to go look at the TV screen that are whatever actually reviewed by the referee. But every play is reviewed. So the person sitting there watching looked at that and said, I don't think it was I don't think it was worth the sending off. So everything is reviewed now. Only certain things are brought to the referee's attention for him to review.
Some tweets we got just regarding that VAR incident with Kaka. Ryan McLeod at CTV Ryan said, even with the video review, the refs in this league are a joke. Why would good players want to come here when you've got MLS and pro referees? 86 for ever. What they wanted to know if it was going to get rescinded. They're really curious. Lyle Dos Santos, Lilotas13 on Twitter, says VAR is a joke and the MLS is painfully comical. Not sure how much longer I will support this league. #CPL.
Nice.
He also agreed that it's only as competent as the person reviewing it, but he also feels it was awful at the Confederation Cup and so far in MLS. We did see a couple of good reviews though in week 1, but he just doesn't feel that the officials are really up to the job, and he says, are they really this clueless? Murray Lynn says pro referees get it wrong again, and with the assistant of VAR this time, ridiculous. And Shoe Thief at Stuck on the Sofa said, absolutely not what this was supposed to be for. So, not a lot of happy bunnies this week. Anyway, we'll bid farewell to you now, Zach.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you back in the studio next week. Maybe, we've enjoyed having Anna here.
We basically have the same voice though, Zach, so no one will tell the difference.
You're both really quiet on the mic. I'm going to have to do a lot of post-editing here. Anyway, have a good week, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, all my best. Looking forward to listening to the rest of the show.
Okay, cheers, man.
Cheers.
Yes, that's... I'm sorry Zach missed that. It's their Flash Top 5. We do it every week. It's Canada 150. We're going to be doing our... and hopefully nobody lost their ears there.
Yeah, I turned the auxiliary mic up for Zach on the phone and forgot to turn it back down again for that.
But we're looking right this year because Canada 150, we're looking at the U23 top 5 players at certain positions. This week we're looking at the top 5 Canadian women, under 25 goalkeepers, and under 23 defenders. Because it's very hard to find too many goalkeepers for the women. There wasn't a big list, so I decided to combine it. So number 5, Surieka, 20 years old, 13 appearances so far for the national team. She's currently playing University of Michigan, so she's not really coming into the national team because she's concentrating on school. But she did make her debut at 16 years old, and I think we saw her, Michael, against Germany, I believe it was.
We did?
Yeah. Lindsay Agnew at number 4, another fullback. She's another converted forward / winger, whatever you want to say. She's currently she's had 5 appearances with the national team, obviously playing in the youth teams as well. She's currently she was Oh, no, she actually is drafted by the Washington Spirit for the NWSL. And she looks like she's going to be mostly playing as a fullback. I'm not sure if it's a right back or left back. She might be doing both. Number 3, our lone goalkeeper on the team, Sabrina D'Angelo, 24 years old, 5 appearances. She was drafted by Western New York Flash. She's now playing for North Carolina. She played basically for South Carolina in college, had a tremendous career, was SEC goalkeeper of the year. She was also the 3rd goalkeeper for the national team in the 2016 Olympics. Number 2, Ashley Lawrence, 22 years old, another converted winger. She plays right back. 54 appearances already at 22 years old. She scored the goal against Netherlands that earned that draw that helped them get to the next round. And now she's graduated from West Virginia. She's now playing for Paris Saint-Germain, so she's kind of got something in common with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Number 1, obviously no doubt here, Khadijah Buchanan, center back, 21 years old, 71 appearances, Olympique Lyon. She is now playing for. She was the NWSL was trying to get her into the team. Into their league, but she decided to sign over in France. West Virginia as well, the same as Ashley Lawrence. She is essentially she was up for an ESPY as Female Athlete of the Year, and she was named the 2015 Young Player of the Year at the 2015 World Cup as well. So she's basically, in my opinion, she's already got 71 appearances at 21. That she's gonna easily break the defender cap record, and I think when Christine Sinclair retires, she'll be the captain in the future.
Interesting. There's definitely a lot of great talent on both sides right now, and it's exciting to think ahead, like where this Canadian team, both men and women's, could be in the next 5 to 10 years. But that was a good list anyway, Steve. Thanks for that again. Let's hope you've done your research on Egyptians, because it's time now for part 2 of Away with the Pharaohs. The sound of madness, which is an apt thing, really. It's like anyone that listens to this show every week, they do hear the sound of madness.
Yes.
But we're back. No one asked for it, but it's back. It's part 2, Away with the Pharaohs. Steve is in the lead, 3-2. In the first part, Steve had to guess.
I was national team members, former national team members, and politicians.
Egyptian rulers. Yes. But now we're switching it around. You're going to get 6 names, and you have to tell me, are they Egyptologists or footballers?
So I'm up at 3 right now.
So let's see. I don't know what she has to be. So first one for you. Ramadan Subi.
I'm going to say footballer.
Correct. Played for Stoke City in the English Premiership since 2016. Zakaria Ghanem.
Footballer.
Egyptologist, best known for his discovery of the Step Pyramid in Sekhmeket in Saqqara. Sabri Khattab.
Egyptologist.
Footballer. Played the 2017 spring season with FC Edmonton. You should know this. Moved back to Norway, where he now plays with Elverum. A lot of elves in Norway. Sheikh Anta Diop.
Okay, I think that's a footballer. I'm going to say footballer.
He's Senegalese, he's an Egyptologist, and an anthropologist. Howard Carter.
I'm going to say that is an Egyptologist.
Yeah, the most famous possibly ever. Yeah. Discovered King Tut's tomb. Yassim Sukar.
Footballer.
Correct. Born in Hartlepool, played with Dundee United last season. Had a loan spell with Peterhead, played against East Fife. But he is now on to pastures new. I think it's York City, actually. So how many did he get there?
He has a total of 6 now.
Total of 6, 3. So, Anna.
Yes.
For the dilapidated...
I can't wait to win
chocolate
this
pyramid.
melty chocolate pyramid.
You need to get 4 or more. If you tie, we're going to give it to you because Steve will die if he eats the chocolate. Although that would be a good thing to film. No, not a good thing, but
No.
I'll just quickly move
you
on.
get a lot of hits.
Yeah, we would.
Which is a good thing.
Probably arrested. Okay, so you're going to tell me, are these national team players or Egyptian rulers? So just say ruler or footballer. Mohamed Samir Kot.
Footballer.
Correct. Won the 1957 African Nations Cup. Represented Egypt at the 1960 and 1964 Olympics. I don't need to tell you that. Saleh Salim.
Footballer.
Correct. Also an actor. Represented Egypt from 1950 to 1962, winning the African Nations Cup in 1959. Osama Orabi.
Ruler.
Footballer. Played in the 1990 World Cup in Italy. Har Wenifer.
Ruler.
Correct. Rebel king during the reign of Ptolemy V. Shikabala.
Ruler.
Footballer. Attacking mid or left winger, currently with Zamalek. Gave up international football in 2010 due to receiving racial insults while playing in Egypt.
Oh.
And the last one, and you're on 5, you need to get this to take the chocolate home. Darius.
Ruler.
He was the second ruler of the 27th dynasty. Congratulations to Anna, you have won this chocolate pile.
I have never been more honoured to have a pile of melty chocolate.
It's good chocolate. It's Roger's
I don't
chocolate.
think the chocolate's melty. I think just the pyramid is melty.
I don't know. It has been around my house for a week in the heat, so I can't vouch for the state of it. But I'm sure you all enjoyed that at home. That was the first and only ever outing of Away with the Pharaohs. And we'll be back with more. Not of that, but we'll be back with more of something after this. And I'm sure you're all feeling like you're in Cairo with our Egyptian-themed show tonight. It's hot in here. It feels like we're in Cairo.
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of ruins when I was there. I'm not just talking about the pyramids and stuff. It was so much poverty. It was kind of really, really weird to drive around and you're seeing all these houses with no roofs and no windows. But they love their football over in Egypt. That's one thing that I discovered. And great country.
Yeah.
Recommend it for a visit. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio, broadcasting from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of beautiful British Columbia. This episode of the show is brought to you as always by BC Soccer Web, your one-stop site for news, links, everything really, locally, nationally and internationally. And we're going to look at some of the headlines that's been up on the site this week, Steve.
Yeah, and there were quite a few. I'll go over the big ones that we had. First one, it was Whitecaps related a little bit. London soccer clubs receive OPDL license. The London Whitecaps Academy, or whatever you want to call it, the whatever, I don't know what did they call it academy? I think they do. They're basically going to get the license. They're going to be able to play in the OPDL, which kind of helps the development. Is the one league lower than their League One. So it's a pretty big accomplishment for them.
But at youth level.
Yeah, at youth
under
level.
13 teams.
It's a developmental league. Second headline comes from Sports Illustrated. Mexico captain Rafa Marquez among 22 USA Treasury sanctions for alleged drug ties. So this is basically there's what was alleged by the U.S. Treasury is that Rafa Marquez, he's kind of like friends with a certain Mexican drug lord, and he's been basically because of his support or because of his ties. I don't know if they allege him actually bringing the drugs in, but they're saying that he's part of it, and they gives him the ability to stop him from coming into the country, and also they freeze any kind of funds he has in the country as well. So it's a pretty big story.
He's also not allowed to have any dealings right now with US citizens, so he couldn't come and sign for a US team or do anything.
I'm wondering if it would affect him in Gold Cup wise, but I guess he's still a captain of the team, I think, right?
Isn't he like 56 by now?
I don't know. And the third headline from ESPN FC, Tabla wants to leave Montreal Impact. That's the young player, basically the Montreal Impact's Alphonso Davies. He
But
essentially
he's not 16.
Not 16, though.
Not 16.
He's a little older. He basically skipped practice and training. He was injured a little bit, so he even kind of skipped that, the physiotherapy session. And the source says that he wants to leave basically for Europe this summer and not want to wait till the end of the year. Montreal's saying that they only have one offer so far, but the agent's saying they have multiple offers. And then the final one from BBC. And this kind of fits the Egyptian theme. Egyptian referee attacked as Esperance beats Faisali to win Arab Cup. And this was essentially a goal. It's all happened because of a goal in injury time, where
102nd minute.
Yeah, where they said it was offside. They didn't. They kept the play going. There was an injured player as well who basically flopped. He wasn't hit in the face. He was just shoulder checked. He went down to the ground. It was that whole thing, and then basically they attacked this referee, and the referee did not want to stop the play. He abandoned the game
because it was in Egypt. And
yeah,
he thought it was going to be bad for Egypt.
Yeah, well, it was bad for him because he got beaten up pretty good. Even apparently during this story, there is a part where he says there was a team from the team that attacked him, a coach from there that apologized for his players hitting him, and then that coach started hitting him too. So
and they arrested 38 people, which I'm imagining was it supporters?
I think it was supporters mostly.
It just said people, so I thought it was possibly.
I thought it was team coach.
But
Possibly.
they let them all go.
Sure. Yeah, they let them go. Basically released them. Yeah, I want to see the guy.
I'd love to see pro referees in Egypt. Or just in the Arab Cup. Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Maybe get the young guys to go there.
But some interesting stories there.
Although I love that the referee in Colorado, I don't remember his name. We never talked about it last week, but because there was no issues with the goal referee, but he refereed that Colorado game was there wasn't any issues there at all.
Yeah, I can't even remember who it was last week.
It was a young guy though. It was somebody it was his fourth game in MLS.
Well, we had Elfath on Saturday night. He never goes well with Elfath. But looking at the Balou Tabla story, if he goes and leaves Montreal, the chances of him playing for the Canadian national team, I think's nil.
Yeah, basically. I think it's already nil right now.
He went to somewhere like Chelsea, starts doing well. The Ivory Coast will bring him in. That's what he seems to want to do. That's going to be it.
I don't think he goes to Chelsea. I think he goes to like maybe in Amsterdam or like in the Netherlands or Belgium or something like that. I don't think he goes to England right away.
I thought it was Chelsea that was getting the sniff around.
Yeah. I know Drogba was. Oh, I know that, but maybe they don't. Maybe they'll set something up for him.
I was forgetting
else.
Actually, Drogba's probably putting a good word in for him.
Oh, for sure. That's where this all started because they basically blamed the Impact for bringing Drogba, and that's the reason why this guy got an idea that he can do it.
But Chelsea may be sniffing around that guy that's doing well with 21 Thunder just now, the Montreal Thunder.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's also from the Ivory Coast, so
yeah,
could sign him.
Could sign him, yeah.
Could have a special thing to do with 21 Thunder on next week's show.
Excellent, can't wait.
Little teaser there.
Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. So that was the headlines. As always, check out bcsoccerweb.com for all your local, national and international news, headlines and links. Now it's time for our wavelength section of the show. And we're going a bit back in time.
Not as back as last week?
No. It was a bit psychedelic-y last week. I liked that. But, yeah. We're going back to 1977. This is a band that Lord Bob loves, Genesis. And this is a truly dreadful song. The lead singer of the band, Phil Collins, said he regrets it.
Sell the segment.
Yeah.
Sell the segment.
Not doing this well. But I'm playing it because the English Premiership is back. Match of the Day is back. Which I think a lot of folk watch that online either.
Oh, for sure.
On YouTube
and
or
you know what?
I
forgot to mention BC Soccer Web even for like, all the previews for all the best previews for the Premier League. They're like the site to go to as well. They put everything you need to go.
Everything up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Match of the Day was back. It's always a fun thing. If anyone doesn't know what that is, it's basically just a highlight show on BBC TV. It's over 50 years old. It shows all the Premiership games. So because Match of the Day was back, I thought I would play this song by Genesis from their Spot the Pigeons EP, so one there for the Pigeon Casuals. This is Match of the Day.
There's the reds and there's the greens, super slicks and has-beens, and they're accompanied by three men dressed in black. One's a whistle, two are flags, and quite often they're the drags. Kick the ball into the goal, they put it back. Just match of the day's the only way to spend your Saturday. Each side's 11 men with numbers on their backs, but at a distance they all tend to look the same. But some on their boutiques, well, they clean up every week, inciting riots, causing chaos, such a shame. But match of the day's the only way we spend our Saturday, and that's not all. Our mates, the keepers, slipping inside and in the mud, arms as long as creepers. Send it out, ref. We're on sticks, ref. We'll get you the ref. I'm the ref. There's a few things before we go that I think you want to know. Obstruction, body checking, heavy tackles. So put on your hat and scarf, have a drink, have a laugh. From the terrace you can see your men do battle. Yes, match of the day's the only way you can spend your Saturday. Don't forget the trainers with their sponges, managers with open checks, liquid business lunches. Send it out, ref. Well, I'm stinks, ref. Get you the ref. Hey, I'm the ref. Good game, Leroy. Did you see that goal in the second half? Oh, bit of a dirty tackle, that, mate. I reckon he should have been a penalty himself. He paid £400,000 for it, you realise it? Oh, look out, here comes the bottle. Yes, that's it, White then. My round.
Genesis there from 1977. Had a very 70s kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, you weren't kidding about that song.
Yeah. The lyrics, not their finest hour, was how Phil Collins described them. But yeah, check it out. Spot the Pigeons EP. One of the main tracks on it, and it's also on some of their compilation albums. Anyway, just before we wrap up this episode of the show, let's take some tweets. We've had quite a lot of tweets in tonight, actually.
It usually happens when they lose.
Yeah, funnily
Yeah,
enough.
people are always chatty on that.
Sean Powell at STP Online says, we need a couple of big name difference makers to round out the team. Zamali. I can't read this. Zamali
from
comes to mind.
Impact.
Players of that pedigree and caliber.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think the thing, like, for example, we were talking about Laba before. If Laba goes, that's a DP spot that you can use as a striker or a winger possibly, or even another attacking midfielder. So they need to use those spots better. Like Breck Shea, for example, another person who's supposed to be a DP but sitting on the bench. They need to use those positions better and maybe spend just a touch more for those spots.
Another tweet from Sean here. He says, as a supporter of Canadian soccer, it's nice to see what's happening in Toronto and to a lesser extent Montreal with impact signings and making the team do well. And he just feels the Caps are failing in that regard. The guys that they're not bringing in just aren't impact guys.
I think they are. They have all those guys have moments of impact, but not like they don't. They won't carry the team.
Yeah, I mean the thing
There's
with
nobody that carries
Montreal
the
is
team.
every single player is an impact player.
Yeah, that makes it easy for them. But they need to bring the players that can carry a team if they need to. But there's nobody on there right now.
Gideon Hill, 18. He wanted some snake charming to be part of the festivities tonight. Unfortunately, I didn't bring one.
I don't think do the Egyptians have snake
I'm
charmers?
surprised though because you pulled so much stuff out of that bag. Are you sure that you don't have?
Yeah, because I'll send another photo. I forgot I actually brought some extra stuff. There was a small pyramid, a medium pyramid, and a big pyramid.
Did you get
small
locked?
Dog, a big pyramid.
Did you get locked in a shop or something? You were forced to buy this stuff?
That was what we were warned about going around the market. Yeah,
'cause
we were
that can
told
happen.
stay in the middle and don't. If someone calls you over, don't go into the shop because they'll get you in, they'll lock you in, and then don't let you out.
I spent about $200 on Egyptian perfume oils because I felt so pressured that they wouldn't let us leave. And
I know.
That's why I
forget it.
like my wife is from India, and when we go shopping there, she just deals with it, and she is so harsh on the shop owners and everything, and we get great deals because I just
not a good haggler.
I just pay the sticker price, but she just gets like she asks for half off. They say no. She walks away. They come running after her. Say, "Okay, we'll give it to you for half off."
Yeah, I'm.
That's the art of the barter. You have to walk away.
And if you're anything other than Indian and you go there, or don't look Indian like me sometimes when I go there, like I don't dress like them at all, you will get burnt. Whether you do all their events or like go for elephant ride or camel ride or anything, they will rake you.
Another tweet from Sean Powell, just carrying on from the last one. He's proud of Piet. He thinks Canada is on the verge of moving tiers in the world with potential to be a top CONCACAF nation. The Caps need to buy into that.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a lot of Canadian players. We've got Edgar, we've got De Jong, we've got Davies.
Levi's.
Yeah, Levi's is probably going to get capped. Ben McKendry was on the verge. Bustos.
Adekubi went to see Sweden.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Whitecaps have done a really good job of, because any player that comes up through the residency, their main goal, if you look at them, their favorite team is Barcelona or Manchester United or
they all
Chelsea.
Want to play in Europe.
Everybody wants to play in Europe, so they're going to give them the chances to play in Europe, and and I think that's a great thing. I think Vancouver's done a great job doing so far.
AFTN writer Chris Corrigan at Sailor C86. He wants to hear our stories of the hardest liquor that we've ever tasted and what it did to you, because he has a recent one of those stories, which I'm guessing is from the Bowen Island thing yesterday. So can you share anything on that?
Was he liquored up yesterday?
I think the majority of the liquoring happened after I left because I am a very top caliber and law-abiding person. So
plus, you wanted to have a clear head for the show tonight.
Absolutely, yes.
My story is basically my roughest night was in a place called Fort Saskatchewan, up in Alberta, north of Edmonton. And all I'll say is styrofoam cups of Crown Royal straight, and dancing on the stage at a country bar.
Oh,
and that's basically the gist of it. What happened to me that day? The rest of it, I'm not sure, 100% sure what happened.
I don't even drink anymore. I never really.
This was years ago. This was 20 years ago, probably about 15, 20 years ago.
I just had one horrible one where I'd been at an East 5 game, got some chips, king rib supper, which is kind of like a pork thing in batter and chips. I had wolfed that down, was in a bad mood because East 5 had lost. We're going to friends for a nice quiet night in. I downed half a bottle of vodka, mostly neat, in the first couple of minutes, puked up everywhere, crashed out, and woke up the next morning.
Yeah, excellent.
Sounds like a good East 5 night.
Yeah. That's the last time I was drunk, actually, and that was a long, long time ago.
A friend of mine has a great story about when he got drunk. I was there, so I had to help him. I was sober, but essentially ended up with a mattress getting burnt in the open field.
And you were there.
And I was there.
And you were sober.
I had to burn the mattress, so
Okay.
It was one of those futon things, sponges kind of thing. It
Sometimes you got to burn a futon.
It wasn't a full mattress. It was mostly a thing. Yeah.
Some more tweets from Chris. He says, if Laba's gone, is our makeover complete? Because it has been a pretty makeover season. It felt like that. He thinks, does Laba's injury... Oh, he wants to know if he injured his ankle. an Egyptian pun there.
Oh.
Are the
Good
supporters too rah-rah? This is very... I like this.
Yeah. Oh, it goes right down your road.
Yeah, he also wants us to read out some of Ghazal's tweets in Arabic.
That's not
Good
gonna
luck with
Could be
that.
tough. He also has a trivia question for you and Zach. He wants to know how many players called Ali or Ali have played for the Whitecaps,
I'm going to say
including residency.
3.
Well, say
Ali
Alessandro Hojapur
Yeah,
could be Ali.
Ali Moose.
Oh yeah, Ali Moose.
And Aly Ghazal obviously is one. I'm counting him in there. And I'm thinking there's probably one other one, but I can't. I think there's one other one in the residency. I know, I can't remember. What's the answer?
He doesn't give it.
Oh, well, good trivia.
Greg Petrie at Erdum World says, give me a reason why I should be optimistic about this upcoming homestand.
No Matthias Lab on the pitch.
Oh.
I know. It's probably
my.
too soon. No, I'm just saying maybe they have a different look in the midfield.
Come on, give Greg a reason.
I mean, I'm just going to reiterate the pieces that I said before. Houston is horrendous on the road, and we've got pieces that can make it work. I'm looking forward to seeing what Davies can do if he's up and ready to go. And
they're a top team, so Vancouver always plays to the level of their opponents. So if
true.
the top team
We play out.
at home,
that is a good thing.
So it's a good thing.
Point.
Yeah, which makes a run-in, which is quite a weak run-in, a bit worrying. Stefan Eriksson, the Penguin at the _PNGUIN, he wants to know, was there even a match yesterday? He couldn't tell because he dozed off.
Yeah.
I had that feeling. Too many blackberries. I went blackberry picking. Greg Petrie thinks that De Jong should be starting over Harvey. He hates Harvey, though.
I know.
There's a few Harvey haters out there.
I love speaking to John Harvey. We've got some really fun segments recorded, so hopefully he's still here. Because we've got some fun segments for him.
He can't be traded now.
No.
But he can.
I've already got things in the bag for our Christmas episode.
Wow.
Yeah. Chris Corrigan again. He doesn't understand why the vampire is so picky. Why only type A? What the hell?
I don't know. I maybe it's just the taste that affects him. I haven't gone really. Maybe I'll research it this week and give you an answer next week.
I'm A positive, so
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried if the vampire is listening to this show. He also says, holy hell, that klaxon woke him up.
All right.
That was meant to, I guess.
Yeah.
We just needed to see who is still listening, and obviously it was Chris.
Well, the tweets have dried up, so I don't think anyone's listening now.
Okay.
So it's probably a good time just to wrap things up. Anyone want to talk about anything before we do that?
No, I think it's time to wrap it up.
WFC 2 lost a horrible game today, 3-0 down Seattle. Meyer Bevan got sent off, which I thought was a piece of nonsense as well. If you can't kick a guy in his calf when you're running past him, what's the game coming to?
No.
He blocked him. He got on his road.
No, I agree with you there. Calf kicking is. I used to hit people in the calf with my hockey stick when we play road hockey.
Mine's are really tight just now. I've been having a lot.
Do you want a kick?
Might help. My wife's been trying to do yoga, which once again, if anyone needs a yoga teacher, get in touch with us. My wife is a qualified yoga teacher. But just before we go, let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at WhitecapsBeat.
You can find me on Twitter at Anna Namsharan.
And you can find Zach on Twitter at ZacharyAM.
And his
movement is Curva Collective. You can find him at Curva Collective.
And they've had good movement over the last couple of weeks.
They have, and they might be moving to the south side next year. I'm Michael McCaw. You can find me on Twitter at AFTN Canada. Listen to all our stuff here on CITR Radio. Read all our stuff on aftn.ca, away from the numbers. Give us a follow on Instagram as well, AFTN Soccer. If you are listening to podcasts on iTunes, leave us a review or a rating. We keep forgetting to ask for that, so it'd be nice if you did that. We hope you've enjoyed this kind of all over the place Egyptian-themed show. Next week, who knows what the theme will be. But I do have a new game that we're going to play. It isn't away from the Pharaohs, but it's going to be gold. Gold, Jerry. It really is. So until then, thanks for listening. Take care. And mon the Caps.
One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.